Do you think current pricing is built up demand, inflation, or is the industry moving to nickel and diamond? This is a great question. I think two out of three. I think it is built up demand because we've seen that ever since the cruise industry restarted in 2021. Inflation, this is everything. This is not just cruise ships, but everything. Those two, I absolutely believe that. Is the industry moving to nickel and diming? I hate that term because I think it's a very misleading term. Nickel and diming, I'm not saying there are in situations in which things don't obviously cost extra that aren't in the cruise fare. That has been the norm, by the way, of the cruise industry for decades. This is not a new thing, right? Short excursions always cost extra. Internet always costs extra. Alcohol always costs extra, right? Um, Obviously, Royal Caribbean is seeing, without a shadow of a doubt, they're seeing a lot of new revenue streams out there. And they're definitely dialing up the prices for those things. That is definitely happening. And that is a result of one and two, built up demand and inflation. When they set the prices for cabanas at $1,500, people are booking them and they're selling out all the time. That's going to drive up the price. This is what a business does. And it stinks because as consumers, I don't want to hear, well, this is how the business works. I don't care how the business works. I want to go on my vacation and pay the same price I paid back in 2017 for that. It sounds silly, but that's actually what a lot of people think should be happening. But this is the business of the industry that we're in. Not we, but we vacation in, I should say. Anyway, all that being said, there's they can the reason why prices can go up though is right here, built up demand. We all can sit here and complain about pricing and saying, I can't believe they're charging this and this and this and this and this. But guess what, guys? People are booking it, whether it's you or somebody else, different story. But they are getting that demand right there. So I don't think there's really been that much of a seismic shift. I've said this in the past, and I'll say this again. The core experience, about the base price alone, I mean, obviously prices of cruising have gone up, but there's, in terms of nickel and diming, it's not like they're starting to charge for the main dining room or things that there haven't been an effect of the core experience beyond pricing just going up. And so I think it's really the first two part of your question. But we'll have, I mean, obviously a lot of the stuff, Wesley, is debatable, obviously. And I don't know the answers to everything. Number two, I think a lot of this is also is going to be reflective. Like it's easier to determine answers to this kind of a question when you look back and say, well, here's how it all played out, as opposed to what may happen in the future. But good question. Do you think demand for Icon will stay high enough through 2026 to support these release prices, or will demand fall off by then forcing Royal Caribbean to drop prices? Great question. Obviously, I don't know what the future holds, Jason. So I don't know more than you do. But based on what we're seeing right now, I don't think so. I don't expect them to drop. Carnival Cruise Line had their released their earnings for the third quarter today or yesterday. No, wait, yesterday was Sunday. It wasn't. It was either. I think it was Friday. Anyway, regardless of that, Carnival in there said that bookings are so good right now that like they're going to run out of inventory. And maybe this is why Royal Caribbean released Icon early for 2025 and 2026. I mean, I can't understate, Jason, how hot cruise demand is. Because the answer to your question, if we were having this conversation in 2019, I would have said, absolutely, Jason. But right now, it really doesn't seem that way. Now, there are some other factors to consider. Number one, there are not one, but two more Icon class cruise ships coming online in the next couple of years. That's going to obviously add more inventory. It's going to, when you have newer ships, it takes away demand from existing ships. But the market right now is so insanely hot, and people are booking non-refundable, I'm sure, quite often, that I'm not certain that will be the case, Jason. Again, I don't know, but the demand for the market right now is crazy. And Royal Caribbean is going to have its third quarter earnings call soonish. I believe either later this month or early November or sometime in November. Regardless of that fact, I will say that it's without a shadow of a doubt. It's going to be. It's not a question, will they do well? The question is like, how gangbusters well are they going to do? Pardon my grammar there. I think really it's going to be right now the industry is just people are booking cruises, and No one wants to pay more for their cruise or pay higher prices for it, but man, oh man. What are your thoughts of Icon charging for day beds? All right. So before you're all don't here's my thought on the day. If the day beds were free, let's assume for a second they were free. They would be reserved. Somebody would be reserving them at 6 a.m. The chair hog situation would be insane. And if you don't believe me, anybody who's been to the Cocoa Beach Club at Perfect Day Cocoa Key, there's like 3 or 4 of them. They go immediately. People get there. It would be it would be nearly impossible, Brian, unless you got there earlier. So the advantage, if you want to look at it that way, of them charging is that, well, now you have an opportunity. Everybody has a fair opportunity to get one without waking up at 6 a.m. to steal one or reserve one and then disappear, and you get the chair hog situation. That's the plus side to it, obviously. The downside is, well, it's not $20, it's not $100. They're like $300, and it is a lot. First of all, in full disclosure, I did book one in the name of research. Jenna's going to check it out. But I also wanted to really see what it's all about. Looking at the concept art, it looks like there's very little shade. And I wouldn't want, if free or not, that is not my jam per se. But obviously they've had, casitas be extremely popular on other ships before this, and they still have casitas on Icon as well. So listen, I don't love having to pay for it. That's not how I would pick reserve. I would rather plan it out. But I also, what I hate more is just people like book reserve chair hogs. And that clearly would have been, I think that would have absolutely been an issue from the get-go. So at least now it's a little easier. I know you're all saying, well, Matt, I don't like the chair hogs. I don't like paying. So where's the middle ground there? I don't know what that is. It's just, again, people are paying for it. But personally, if I had the choice, I'm not from the revenue department of Royal Caribbean. So obviously from the revenue standpoint, I'm sure there's a whole different conversation to have there. I don't want them to charge for it, but there is a slight advantage in the sense that it'll be a little bit easier to get one, even though nobody wants to pay extra for it, including myself. Does the Windjammer serve the same food on all ships? I had the best Indian food in the Windjammer on Odyssey, going on Symphony next month, hoping to eat the same food. So I'll answer your question more directly. Indian food. The answer is there will be Indian food in the Windjammer every night of the cruise. The thing is no, it's not exactly the same. As an example, I have often found some ships have sambar as an Indian curry breakfast, whereas other ships do not. It's kind of hit or miss, and the selections kind of vary. I honestly think, Brittany, they just kind of like the chefs back there are like, you know what? We're in the mood to make this, and they kind of make that. So no, it's not fleet-wide consistent when it comes to the Indian food in the Windjammer, but there will be options there. And in my experience, they do overlap a lot. It's not like, they're serving like wild and crazy different food depending on which ship you're on. They're very basic dishes they offer on any given cruise. But that isn't to say because you did a 7-nighter on Odyssey, you're going to have the exact same curries on, where are you going on? Symphony, if that makes sense. So, but you'll find plenty to enjoy. When doing a back-to-back, you have to purchase separate travel insurance policies. Yes, unless you have an annual policy, obviously. But if you don't have an annual travel insurance policy, then yes, you would need to get separate travel insurance policies for both sailings because technically they are 2 different sailings. If you bought it only for one, it would not cover the other. Are the Italian restaurants at Royal Caribbean good? I think they are. Listen, I don't know what you mean by good. I'm not a food critic. I'm not a foodie. I just enjoy good food. And whether it's Giovanni's Table, Jamie's, Giovanni's Italian Kitchen, I've really liked it. I would rank them Giovanni's Italian Kitchen number 1, Jamie's Italian 2, and then Giovanni's Table 3. But they're really good. I do enjoy those quite a bit. The Diamond member, how do I get my 2 free days of internet? Well, the 2 free days are, you only get 1 free day for Diamond. Diamond Plus, you get 2 days. But regardless of that fact, in order to redeem it, you have to be on the ship, Amanda. You can't pre-purchase it. But once you get on board the ship and you go to purchase an internet package on board, it will automatically apply. So if you select, unlimited internet package, and you will see there the price breakdown, there's a discount applied automatically. Can kids from different age groups get together in the kids club area? It depends. Of course, as you know, the kids club is 3 to 5, 6 to 9, 6 to 8, and then 9 to 11 or 12, depending on which ship you're on. Within that group, obviously they'll be together. But if you got a kid who's in the 3 to 5, and you got a kid who's in 6 to 8, can they get in there together? In a lot of cases, they do combine Adventure Ocean at some point. But the only way that you could have them together all the time would be to move one from one group to another. You can ask Adventure Ocean for that. There's no guarantees, but depending on how busy they are and how close one of the kids is to the other one, they may allow that or not. And the answer may be no. Will the new adults only area be open for my January 6th cruise? I don't know. They haven't really said. As of right now, the minimum date that it will be open will be whenever Icon of the Seas goes there on her inaugural cruise. So far, there has not been any indication when or if the Hideaway Beach, which is the new adults only beach area, will open early. It stands to reason. Like, if it's ready on whatever day Icon's there, wouldn't it be ready like the day before that? Wouldn't Royal want a soft opening, which is code for like a testing? Quite possibly. We just don't know in Rage Bacon. I have no indications yet what to expect. So as of right now, the answer is no. But it may, honestly, you may show up there and, hey, surprise, but you would not have known about it until you actually get there, if that makes sense. I'm seeing people on Facebook claiming Royal Caribbean is canceling ports on Anthem due to propulsion issues and doing it after final payment. My cruise is in April, only chance they repair Anthem before that. Okay, so actually, these people on Facebook are actually correct this time. Anthem of the Seas, evidently, now Royal Caribbean does not usually comment on this on a public scale. Basically, their thought is if you're not booked on Anthem, this has no relevance to you. But there have been, I've seen people reporting that their cruises coming up on Anthem of the Seas, they've dropped ports at like port calls in Nassau due to a propulsion issue. These aren't unheard of. Will it be repaired before then? I have no idea, JC. While I love Royal Caribbean, they are not usually that forthcoming with that kind of long-term plan. And I'm not sure they even know the answer. Maybe they'll be able to fix it beforehand. Don't know. I wish I gave you a better answer, but that's the honest. There's really no way to know. Why doesn't Wonder of the Seas have Broadway shows? 13 days left. It's a good question. If you were to ask Royal Caribbean, they would tell you, well, we've developed our entertainment is bar none, top notch, world class. We thought we could develop our own shows, and we thought it would be just as compelling or interesting and different, but something great for the family to enjoy. If you were to ask me, I would tell you they didn't want to pay money to license a Broadway show, especially because remember, Wonder came out right in like the worst part of the pandemic. Like they had taken on all the debt, starting getting cruising back, so barely getting any kind of income in. They just didn't want to spend more money. I think that's my thought on it, but we'll never really know the answer until one of us gets somebody in some executive to spill the beans on that. Why did they change the name of the Diamond Lounge? Is it a sign of things to come? Some people think so. I mean, on the one hand, I think maybe they were just trying to figure out, well, Diamond Lounge sounds like it's just for Diamond members, which is not. It's for Diamond Plus, and Pinnacle. So let's make a name that makes a little more sense. That certainly sounds logical. But you got to think that why would they take is that really like a top priority? Like, why would they do that if they weren't going, some people believe this is step one in some other ulterior motives that they have. But they said when they made this change that there wasn't going to be a change related to it. So I don't know. I'm a terrible predictor of the future, as you all know about that. All right, guys. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Until then, have a great week, everyone. Stay safe out there. Have a good one. Bye.